Oh, there's so many things when you think about Caitlin and her not wanting to miss games. Obviously, she's a competitor and wants to play. Obviously, everyone wants to watch her play. But for me, it's maintaining perspective.
There are people celebrating Caitlin Clark's injury. There are people celebrating Caitlin Clark's injury. And these are all people that are in the "we don't hate Caitlin Clark, we just hate her" fans. No, they don't. They hate Caitlin Clark. They say we hate her fans just so that they can have an excuse. They hate her. They hate her.
Just like that, Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA, the team owners, the Players Association, in the split of an instance, all of it can change. In a split instance, all of it can change. If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA.
The WNBA's star attraction is temporarily sidelined, and the league itself may be at fault. Caitlin Clark will be absent for at least a fortnight due to a strain in her left quadricep. This marks the first occasion she's missed a regular season game since her college sophomore days.
Clark will miss at least the next 2 weeks with a left quad strain. The Fever are currently 2-2 on the year. Clark has started all 4 games so far and is averaging 19 points, 9.3 assists, and 6 boards per game. The Fever said more updates will be provided after doctors reevaluate her.
What's truly aggravating is the possibility that this injury stems from preseason quadriceps tightness that went unaddressed. Was Clark enduring pain all along, contending with rough play from opponents and overlooked by biased officials? The timing is incredibly unfortunate, and the league is already scrambling in response.
The Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight. Caitlin Clark's out 2 weeks.
Was Caitlin Clark competing with an injured leg all along while everyone turned a blind eye? The signs are accumulating, and it's utterly infuriating. In the Liberty game on May 24th, something seemed off from the very beginning. Her shots repeatedly fell short, lacking the usual explosive power we expect from her deep-range shots. But the real red flag? Video evidence shows Clark using a heat pack on her leg during the game itself. You don't need a medical degree to realize that indicates she was already suffering from pain.
Footage of Caitlin Clark putting heat compression towards her leg. There is literally footage of her putting heat packs on her leg. There is new footage of her heating up her quad when she's playing.
Coach Stephanie White revealed after the MRI results that she wasn't even certain when Clark sustained her injury. Just pause and consider that for a moment. The team only discovered something was genuinely wrong after receiving a message post-game. White stated, "I'm glad that she did because we need to nip this in the bud," referring to Clark finally speaking out about her discomfort. That says it all. Clark was carefully concealing her pain all along.
I'm at the game. Caitlin Clark does not look right on the sideline. Caitlin Clark is coming out. She has heat compression on her quad. She was playing injured. And ironically, that is probably the best case scenario. That is probably the best thing. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a bad thing. And trust me on this, it is probably the best case scenario that she's been actually playing through this and she was able to play through this fine.
Let's be honest, this wasn't some random mishap during the Liberty game. Clark sat out the Fever's preseason debut due to left quad tightness, and now she's dealing with another injury in the very same leg. The team claims this new setback is unrelated to the preseason problem, but really, it's hard to buy. When the same muscle group fails twice within a single season, it's no coincidence. It's a clear pattern.
Maybe this will be the wake-up call that the NBA needs to clean up the officiating, to actually show that they appreciate this golden goose that has landed in their lap that goes by the name of Caitlin Clark. It's been so long. We've just seen this girl getting beat up in games. We see her get grabbed, hacked, bumped into, knocked on the floor. There's never any whistles from her.
What truly adds to this frustration is how Clark has been subjected to aggressive, physical play for 2 consecutive years, starting from her rookie season and continuing into the early games this year. Opponents have been allowed to grab her, bump her off screens, and deliver tough fouls with hardly any repercussions from the referees. Every game, she's taking hits that would surely be called for others. The clear targeting has been evident, yet the officials have done nothing to safeguard their premier star.
What was that play? Oh my God, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked fell on her hip. That's a hack!
White's remark about great players concealing injuries hits the mark perfectly. Clark likely felt compelled to keep going despite her discomfort, believing she could power through as she always has. But this time, her body said otherwise. The grim truth is that Clark has been competing injured, taking brutal hits from defenders who knew the refs wouldn't shield her.
League is still resentful of her, it's still jealous of her, and it's still trying to put her in her place and give her nothing, make her earn something that she already earned last year when she put this league on the national map. For the first time ever, it was really and truly on the national map.
This injury was entirely avoidable. Adequate rest after the preseason strain, stronger officiating to prevent targeting, and medical staff paying attention to warning signs could have prevented this catastrophe. Instead, everyone turned a blind eye while the league's top star's body started to break down. Now, the WNBA faces its worst nightmare, and their frantic immediate response reveals just how heavily they rely on one person.
Caitlin Clark, somebody who was responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity last season, including revenue from merchandise, ticket sales, and television, is out for a minimum of 2 weeks. Minimum of 2 weeks, more like 4 to 6 weeks. Minimum of 2 weeks, because remember, that's when she gets reevaluated. More like 4 to 6 weeks.
Within hours of the injury news, the WNBA's worst fears came true. League officials, who had been riding the wave of Clark's immense popularity, suddenly confronted the frightening reality of empty arenas and sharp drops in ratings. The panic was palpable and immediate. Teams that had heavily invested in Clark's star power now faced the looming threat of financial disaster, desperately scrambling to manage the chaos.
And I'm already seeing people saying, I'm taking a break. I'm already seeing people say, I'll be back in a little bit. These numbers are going to go down. The owners are going to walk into those negotiation rooms feeling themselves. Shout out to Beyonce. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling my... Again, they're lucky this is only a rumored 2 to 4 weeks. Because if the news was the season, people would tune out 100%.
The Washington Mystics had already shifted their upcoming game against the Fever to a bigger venue in Baltimore, counting on the huge crowds that follow Clark everywhere. Now, they're dealing with refund requests from fans who purchased tickets solely to see the star player. What's truly embarrassing is having to explain to disappointed supporters that the only reason they upgraded to a larger venue was because of Clark, and now she's not even going to be there.
There is one thing, no doubt, that's about to happen. The WNBA teams that move their games, this is about to be catastrophic for them.
The Chicago Sky took an even bigger gamble by relocating their matchup against the Fever to the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls. This enormous arena upgrade was meant to highlight the league's rising presence and popularity. Instead, it's turning into a potential nightmare with thousands of vacant seats. Picture the sight of a nearly empty United Center during a nationally televised game. That kind of image would be a major blow to the league, setting it back years and undermining its credibility.
Yep, that's the Baltimore game. I believe that's about a 15,000 seat arena situation. This one's at the United Center in Chicago. Good luck getting anybody there. Seriously.
That's the harsh reality that should send chills through WNBA leadership. Their entire revenue structure hinges on a 23-year-old superstar. The May game between the Fever and Sky set a record as the most-watched WNBA broadcast in ESPN history, pulling in 2.7 million viewers and peaking at 3.1 million. Those staggering numbers aren't driven by love for the league itself. They're fueled by the desire to see Caitlin Clark. CBS Sports and other broadcasters are already preparing for a significant drop in ratings. Advertisers who paid top dollar for Clark's games are likely facing some uncomfortable conversations right now. The league's entire marketing setup was built around one person, and now that she's injured, the foundation is crumbling.
The wake-up call the WNBA needs, Caitlin Clark is out for at least 2 weeks. Now, we are going to see what you guys, not just Indiana Fever, we're going to see what type of numbers this league can churn over without her.
Attendance forecasts for upcoming Fever away games reveal a harsh reality. Without Clark, these contests revert to ordinary WNBA matchups with only modest crowds. Teams that had planned special promotions and anticipated full houses now face half-empty arenas and disappointed fans. The league has realized they built their house on shifting sands, and now it's collapsing. After 26 years, they finally discovered their superstar, and their failure to safeguard her is costing them everything. The behind-the-scenes financial chaos underscores just how heavily they rely on Clark's superstar appeal. But while league officials fret over their dwindling earnings, something even more troubling was unfolding online as news of her injury spread.
So a lot of you are like, this is perfect. All right, because the WNBA accused the fandom and gave validity to some online trolls. All, by the way, I wonder if the WNBA has given validity to some other online trolls.
While genuine basketball fans felt genuine heartbreak, certain corners of social media erupted in a disturbing celebration. The news of Caitlin Clark's injury instantly sparked a wave of vile posts, especially from Angel Reese supporters and Chicago Sky fans. These individuals were actually rejoicing over a 23-year-old athlete getting hurt. Let that sink in for a moment. The toxic reactions flooding platforms like Twitter and Instagram revealed a disturbing underside of women's basketball. Posts mocking Clark's injury and expressing happiness that the league's most prominent star was sidelined spread rapidly, with some fans openly admitting they were glad she couldn't face their favorite teams. Others made jokes suggesting she was faking to garner attention. The sheer level of hatred aimed at a single player was absolutely shocking and deeply unsettling.
There are people celebrating Caitlin Clark's injury. There are people celebrating Caitlin Clark's injury. And these are all people that are in the "we don't hate Caitlin Clark, we just hate her fans" crew. No, they don't. They hate Caitlin Clark. They say we hate her fans just so that they can have an excuse. They hate her. They hate her.
This toxic behavior on social media is a direct reflection of the ongoing pattern of targeting Clark throughout the season. On the court, defenders have been allowed to grab her, bump her off screens, and throw hard fouls without repercussions. Officials consistently looked the other way as cheap shots and rough play went unpunished. Now, that unchecked aggression has culminated in her injury, and their toxic fan base is celebrating the unfortunate outcome. It's a clear connection. There's a straight line from the dirty, illegal play on the court to the vindictive online celebrations.
You have got people out here wishing ACL injuries on Caitlin Clark. You have got people out here celebrating. Like, if you look at the quote tweets of the Indiana Fever tweeting Caitlin Clark's got injured, the amount of celebratory tweets you've seen, the amount of celebratory tweets and like people like celebrating that she got hurt. And the only reason I have to say it is that that side of the fan base people are being told that does not exist, that does not happen. And it's clear as day because the public.
The WNBA's inability to safeguard Clark has fueled this toxic atmosphere. By turning a blind eye to physical targeting and refusing to enforce penalties, the league implicitly communicated that Clark was fair game. When fans witness their favorite players repeatedly escaping punishment for cheap shots, they become emboldened, feeling justified in celebrating when those tactics lead to injury. The compromised officiating fostered a culture where damaging Clark became not just tolerated, but seemingly acceptable, an environment built on neglect and indifference that has now tragically caught up with them.
You've got the media out here. Again, we've like Elle Duncan has gone full on unhinged, it seems. Like, obviously Caitlin Clark fans have called out some of her stuff, so now she's gone fully, like, it seems like she's fully gone anti-Caitlin Clark fans. She's gone and attacked them. She's gone on a tirade.
Commissioner Cathy Engelbert's complete failure to address the relentless targeting exemplifies the worst in league leadership. She never issued strong public statements in defense of her biggest star. She failed to acknowledge the obvious pattern of dirty play that was developing. Her silence effectively sanctioned the behavior. This lack of action sent a terrible message that Clark was fair game, not someone the league was committed to protect. The inconsistencies and foul calls throughout Clark's rookie season, then extending into this year, exposed the truth. Opponents had free rein to grab her jersey, bump her off screens, and make hard contact with minimal repercussions, while Clark was penalized for even the tiniest infractions. The referees created an environment where defenders knew they could get away with rough, even dangerous play against her. The league that allowed bullies to injure its brightest star deserves every consequence that follows. The toxic cheering on social media reflects the culture fostered by negligent officiating and weak leadership. Now, the Fever faces the tough challenge of trying to survive without their superstar during critical upcoming games, a situation that could define the league's integrity moving forward.
The difference is that one of them are called, one group are called the scum of the earth, and because of that one group, every single person that is a fan of Caitlin Clark is called by the media not too far off the scum of the earth. And one group is, according to the media, not real. This is not real. This did not happen. None of this is real. So that's just my opinion on this all. My opinion on all of this is that everything's wrong. All of this is wrong. Everything when it comes to the WNBA media is just crazy.
With their franchise stars on the sidelines, the Fever are about to face their greatest challenge yet. The next stretch includes matchups against Washington, Connecticut, and Chicago, games that should be within reach if Indiana can perform at their best. But here's the brutal truth. The team's offensive rating plummets from a solid 107.5 when Clark is on the court to a staggering 82.2 without her. That's not just a dip, it's a catastrophic fall off a cliff.
I think so. I think that's the advantage of our depth, right? And we, Sophie had injury early as well. I think it's the advantage of us, the depth that we added in the offseason, that we're equipped. Certainly we'd rather have it early than late. It's a great opportunity for our team to find an identity. It's a great opportunity for our team to play in a different way.
Coach Stephanie White is fully aware of the challenge ahead. She's already strategizing to spread the offensive responsibilities among multiple players. White commented, "It's a great opportunity for our team to find an identity without Caitlin. In other words, they must demonstrate they're more than just a one-woman show. The pressure is on every player to rise to the occasion and prove they can perform when it counts the most."
And I also think it's a great opportunity for Caitlin to watch the game from the sideline and to grow in almost like a coaching kind of mindset and see some different things that we might be talking about on film, addressing in practice to see it develop in live action.
Aaliyah Boston is poised to become the centerpiece of White's revamped game plan. Currently averaging 18.5 points and 10.8 rebounds per game, Boston will be more actively involved in the post now. Last season, about 39% of her possessions came from post-up plays. This year, that figure has dipped to just 18.3% as White shifted focus toward her rolling to the basket in pick and rolls with Clark. Without Clark orchestrating those plays, Boston must lean on her primary strength, dominating down low. Kelsey Mitchell will also see her role expand significantly, taking on the main playmaking responsibilities while keeping her scoring consistent. Mitchell has been the Fever's most reliable offensive threat aside from Clark, and now she'll need to step up to carry the team when the spotlight intensifies. The game will often be in her hands more than ever before.
I don't think we change how we play. I think we change what the emphasis is, right? Our off-ball actions as opposed to some of our on-ball actions. When we get to our on-ball actions, utilizing our personnel in a different way. You might not see as much of AB getting the ball on a dive and a pick and roll as you would in some of the other off-ball screening actions that get her to that point. Or where our shots come from. A lot of times with C and the ball in her hands, our shots are coming above the break, right? Now we might get the ball moving inline to inline when we're moving it side to side. So I don't think it changes how we play. I think it just changes the emphasis on the actions that we get to.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall now have the spotlight to demonstrate their true potential. Both have been reliable contributors, but with Clark sidelined, they must step up and elevate their games to fill the scoring gap. The Fever's off-season additions, veterans like Natasha Howard, Sydney Coulson, and Dewana Bonner, were specifically brought in to provide depth in situations like this. Now, it's time to see if that investment pays off. Coach White finds a silver lining amid the chaos. She believes this gives Clark a rare opportunity to step back from the court, observe the game from the sidelines, and develop a deeper understanding from a coaching perspective, including seeing different aspects of play that they might analyze on film. While her body gets much-needed rest, Clark will gain a fresh perspective on the game, potentially making her even stronger once she returns.
Oh, there's so many things when you think about Caitlin and her not wanting to miss games. Obviously, she's a competitor and wants to play. Obviously, everyone wants to watch her play. But for me, it's maintaining perspective, right? It's making sure that we address this in a way that doesn't affect long term, that we take care of it. Don't over push, don't overexert, making sure that we take the long game approach to this, so that we're not having lingering issues throughout the course of the season. And I'm glad that, sometimes great players don't tell you when they're hurting. I'm glad that she did, because we need to nip this in the bud.
White's strategy emphasizes long-term recovery and growth. She stated, "It's about making sure we handle this in a way that doesn't compromise the future, that we don't over-push or overexert, but instead take the long game approach. This enforced break might actually benefit Clark's development, helping to prevent bigger issues later on. The Fever's depth and coaching will be tested, but navigating these weeks could ultimately make the team significantly stronger when their star returns." The league's neglect, allowing dirty play and ignoring officiating mistakes, has brought this mess upon itself. Now, as ratings dip and arenas empty, they're reminded what happens when you fail to protect your top talent. But here's the silver lining. Clark will come back more resilient, having learned and grown from this setback. Since she's never missed a game before, this enforced pause might be exactly what she needs for long-term improvement. When she returns, she'll be hungrier than ever. Surviving these challenges without her will toughen the Fever, making them a more complete and formidable team for the playoff push ahead. Let's all wish Caitlin a speedy recovery. Drop a "Get Well Soon" CC in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update.